everybody, and welcome to Indie Film Cafe. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and we're doing a special edition here where I'm going to be interviewing Wes Forsythe. How you doing, Wes?
Just fine, just fine. Thank you very much.
Now you're the, I guess, would you say like the host? You're the host of
There you go.
Scarefest Radio,
Yeah.
and
Although nowadays we had to rebrand it to Scarefest TV. It used to be Scarefest Radio. It was a podcast. And then the new owners of Scarefest back 5 years ago said, let's do video. And so we started doing video, but it confuses the hell out of the guest when you call your show Scarefest Radio and you're wanting them on camera. So we just changed the name of it and flew with it. Just to be clear,
you're both, right? Or do you do both? Or do you do radio and
for a while? Well, no, I don't do both now. For a while, when I have time, which I never seem to, it is fun to take the and strip the audio out of the video and post that as a podcast, because I still got the channel and everything. But we pretty much video is it now, just because it may not look like it, but I do spend a lot of prep time getting ready for an episode. So.
That's even better when it doesn't look like it, but right? Because that's what everybody says. It looks so easy, but there's a lot of work that gets involved.
Whenever somebody says something like that, I go, I really do prepare for this stuff. I don't over prepare. I'm not one of those guys that writes down 20 questions on a sheet of paper. I just kind of get an idea who the guest is and then try to get them talking about whatever their passion is. And if you hit it right, easy show.
And that's the fun thing. I'll tell you something, and I won't say who the person is because it's a person that actually goes to Scarefest, so I don't say anything specific about her. But she was one of my guests on one of my old podcasts, The Independent Corner, and she had asked for questions, and I gave her questions, and she wanted to do the answers, but she read them out loud, during the podcast, and it was a live podcast, so people are like in the chat going, is she is she reading them, and everything. So I had
it happens.
I had to switch up and ask questions that she wasn't aware of that I was going to ask, so that it got more organic, because that's what I like. I like organic conversations. So how long have you been podcasting?
Oh gosh, that's one. Everybody's asked me how long I've been podcasting for Scarefest, and I almost have that pinned down. But I was doing it back before it was easy. Mm-hmm. That's all I can tell you. I don't want to say I'm one of the pioneers of the field, but I was doing it, and I was doing it on really crappy internet, the little town that I live in. God, I wish I'd been prepared for that one. I wish you'd sent me a list of questions.
Would you have read them?
Oh, I'd have looked at them. I wouldn't actually have done the research. Best guess. Okay, here you go. I'm going to say I've been podcasting 15 years.
Okay.
And that is based on, I know when first time I went to Scarefest, I was already podcasting. Or at least that's about the time I started.
Okay. I started in 2006, I want to say. And that was, so how long I guess that's about 14 years, right? 15? 14. I guess 14 years.
Okay.
Coming up on October 25th. So, October 25th, 2006 was when I first did it. I did Blog Talk Radio. I don't know if familiar with Blog Talk.
I worked with Live Paranormal for a while, and they used the Blog Talk platform.
Mm-hmm.
And
it got expensive. They won't.
I was glad I didn't have to pay for it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I did pay for it at some things, but then after a while, I was just like, I can't afford it.
Yeah,
we're not making any money, so I mean,
when I went out on my own, I checked into it, and no. So I get that. I really do.
No, I'm excited about Scarefest. Like, Scarefest is one of the conventions that a lot of my friends, because I have a lot of friends from Kentucky, so a lot of my friends keep telling me, you got to go to Scarefest. You got to go to Scarefest. And it's been on my radar for years. And so this year we've decided to go. Me and my co-host Paul just decided we're gonna go celebrate. We can't wait to meet Lloyd Kaufman and the Greasy Strangler guys. You know, like everybody's so excited about Robert England and Kane Hodder and everybody like that, which is wonderful. They're great people. But we're here. We're Indie Film Cafe. We're here for the little
Mhm.
guys. You know, the ones that you know, Troma. You know, that's like the heart of the independent film companies and stuff. Having guests like that and having guests like the bigger guests or whatever, do you like, you know, the fact that there's all of these different types of people all in one like area?
I The answer is yes, but I don't. I'm a terrible fanboy. Generally, the guests that I will like the most are the ones that have come on my show and have created that bond with me on the show. In other words, I could tell they were being forthright. I could tell they were having a good time. They were loose, they were funny. I get more attached to them that way than I do by any other thing. For example, Felissa Rose. Now, everybody, she is one of the she's a fan favorite at every convention she goes to. She treats every single person like they are her best friend that she hadn't seen since high school. It's amazing the love and passion you feel when you're around that woman. And she treats me like that. And I know she treats everybody like that,
Mm-hmm.
but she has this incredible way of making you feel special. And so
I
she's one of
agree.
my favorites to see.
I've seen her, I think, two or three times. The first time, I'll tell you, the first time I met her was at I think it was Blood at the Beach. It was a horror convention in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and Tiffany Shepis was there,
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking, and with I think it was her, Debbie Rashawn, and Felissa all together. I mean, that just right there is just an amazing group of women who like all just like started talking to me, and I felt so, you know, like you feel so good around that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
when they're just so wonderful. Um, and my favorite, like one of my favorite people to chat with. I'm sad she's not going to be at this Scarefest. I'm sure she's at others. She's been at others, but Danielle Harris. Oh, I love her.
Mm-hmm.
She's just so
I
sweet.
follow her on Facebook. I have not spoken to her personally. She used to come to Scarefest about every year. Honestly, I don't know why that she hasn't been for a few years. Um, she's actually made little comments about how she'd like to come back, but I'm gonna try if I can to make that happen in the next year or two.
Yeah, she's wonderful. She's I saw her at Scares Like Here recently. She's just one of the nicest, sweetest people.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just ask her like you know, just ask her. I mean, even if you're not buying anything or something at that particular time, she's just really
Mm-hmm.
cool to just chat with, you know, and everything. And I think that's awesome because I hate to say it, there's some people who don't want you like close to them if you're not buying something. And I feel like that, you know, that's sort of, I mean, I'm not saying anybody in particular, but I say that sometimes that can kind of turn people away, you know,
It
because
I don't see it a lot in the horror industry. Now maybe it's my position. Once again, I've been doing this for Scarefest for years. So maybe they know who I am. Who knows?
yeah, you're pressed
But
to them, right? You're like you're part of the, you
but
know, your
but
staff.
I don't I can't say it's very rare that I get that vibe off any of our guests. And I'm not saying it's anything special about us. I'm saying it's something special about the horror industry in general. Is that it seems like the celebrities that are known for being a horror celebrity just really they tend to appreciate their fan base. That's the best way I can put it.
Exactly. And man, does Felissa Rose have something going on right now? Because like everybody, like my own parents know about Terrifier 2 right now because it's all over the news and everything. And that is big for the indie the film community period,
Hmm.
and everything, that a movie is getting so much publicity, but apparently it's making everybody sick or fainting or whatever. I don't know.
I hadn't heard that, but
You haven't
okay.
heard that yet? Oh man, it's
No,
all
no,
over the
no.
news. Uh, that's crazy. I mean, I kind of want to see it, but like, I'm like, it's two and a
Well, I
half
mean,
hours, but it's just,
I'd love to say it surprises me, but when you think about the first Terrifier movie and what they did with a very small budget, as
mhm.
far as a movie like that, that movie was just absolutely amazing. Now you take the people behind that movie and then you actually hand them money. I mean, the sky's the limit. So
Yep.
that's the way I'll look at it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think I think that's only going to help the independent film horror community even more, as a movie like that making, and it made a lot of money in the box office already. Like it
Oh
was only
yeah.
supposed to go for one weekend, and they asked for two now, and might come back. Who knows, a third or fourth? So that's wonderful. For us little guys. So aside from like the guests, so when you set up and do Scarefest Radio, are you there like in your booth most of the time, or you out walking around?
No. The answer is I'm supposed to be in my booth more. The truth of the matter is because in the process of doing Scarefest TV, they moved me up into management for the Scarefest. And my job during Scarefest weekend actually becomes making sure everything is happening. Now I'm going to say Adrian Elder Deacons. She is the powerhouse behind Scarefest. She's the ops manager, and she makes the wheels turn. I'm just outside, making sure everybody sees the pretty chrome on the wheels. Uh, so I spend a lot of my time during Scarefest weekend just going around to all the different things that we do, because we're not just one of those conventions that just says, okay, there's vendors, there's celebrities, have a good time. We have stuff going on all weekend. We literally planned our entertainment schedule where there was always something. If you were bored or whatever, you didn't want to go shopping and you met all your celebrities, we've got things for you to do. And so I'm not in charge of making them happen. I'm in charge of making sure they happen.
So we got a film festival that
Mm-hmm.
happens, which we're really excited to see Shakespeare's Shitstorm, the Troma
Mm-hmm.
movie. So we can't wait to see that. Then we've got I guess there's bands playing, if I'm correct.
We don't, we backed away from bands per se a few years ago. We, and I don't know how to put it. We weren't having a lot of luck with our parties as far as having a band.
Okay.
Of course, now DJ Trey, I'm not saying we're not music free, or we still have music during our Halloween party, but we decided to just try some more non-traditional things, like on our lunch party. We just decided, let's do something bar-like, and we have horror trivia on that Thursday.
Oh wow.
We absolutely packed the bar we were in. I mean, and that's at Lex Live at what they call the Corner Bar. That's not the biggest bar in the building, but I'm doing things like that were more catered to the horror fans has really worked out well for us. Something we fought, actually, we didn't fight it. We had certain people that didn't want to do it because they don't like karaoke. Well, we had several of our people that wanted karaoke, which is just branded for,
Karaoke.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just rebranded karaoke. But we said, okay, let's give it a shot. My God, that thing went till 3 or 4 in the morning. It just just absolutely took off. And then of course, then on the floor, we've got an aerialist, or actually two of them, they're twins. We've got an up close magician. The problem when you're doing music from bands, horror is associated with, well, hard rock, metal,
Heavy
bands.
metal.
Yeah, heavy metal. And there is a large contingent of horror movie fans like myself that if you can't dance to it, we're just not that into it. And because I grew up in the 80s. I graduated high school in the 80s, you know. So, there's a certain music that I like, but we found out that these activities, if you will, less traditional things, appeal to a broader base of people. And that's what we're after.
Yeah, it makes sense to have like karaoke or things like that of that nature. I always love seeing karaoke. I love seeing when other conventions have them. I go to those things just because it's a fun atmosphere. Like
Mm-hmm.
people are enjoying themselves. Sometimes you got good singers, sometimes you don't, and that is like I sang once, and I did not want to. I did not want to do that, but
I've already put it out there. If not early in the evening, because yes, I am one of those guys that needs a couple of cocktails before I get really loose with my talent. But I said if they have what's the name of it? Shania Twain. I feel like a woman. If they have, I feel like a woman. I will sing that song in karaoke.
all right. So there you go, DJ, whoever this DJ for karaoke is, you gotta have Shania Twain in there because we
Mhm.
gotta hear that. So so that's awesome. You got all these things, and you also have two amazing, as far as I know, maybe more, but I know there's two amazing cars that are going to be there. One is
Mhm.
Christine, and the other is the
Right.
Mystery Machine. So both of them.
And we also have the actual screen. I guess one of them. I think they use more than one. I don't know. I need to research that. Creepers, Jeepers Creepers.
There
That
you go.
truck. We've got that.
So
And
you
that
got all three of them that are going to be there, and people can. I remember. I don't know if it's the same Christine. I'm sure it is. That goes to many of the conventions and
oh
stuff.
yeah.
But I remember being in front of there, taking my picture, getting run over by Christine, and loving it. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure other people who have not had the chance to do that yet should go up and, or if you have and want to get another shot of you doing that. I mean, that sounds like that's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of fun. And I guess the mystery machine, just having that there too, like also, are people
Yeah,
allowed to
it's
get
actually
in to the mystery
I
machine or no?
I don't actually. I've never seen anybody do it, so I'm gonna
I'm gonna
say
say,
probably not, but I
okay.
don't actually know. Yeah.
It's a good question. I'll have to ask the person when I get there,
Yeah. I mean, they might slide the door right open and let you hop in. Who knows?
the cool part is that we are excited that we're going to be press there, and we're going to try to interview some of the vendors. Like I'm sure we'll talk to the if they're in, because I know like not everybody can have time to do that. If they're they got customers coming up, they can't take
Right.
the interview. I don't want to bother them when they're doing that. I always like to get them if I can, for like a couple minutes of their time, chatting
Mm-hmm.
about that. But I would love to talk to the guys who do what is it, the Mystery Machine and the Christine and the Jeepers Creepers. I mean, that's awesome
Mm-hmm.
that those three things, because like those are three different cars, basically like set
Right.
up,
Very, very
and
different. Yeah.
very different, and so they have to maintain all of those in a different way. It's just fascinating that they're able to come and do all these things, and they're very careful with their cars, wonderful. So I guess you've had a lot of reoccurring guests that are going to be there or whatever. Um, who are you? I guess maybe I asked this earlier, but I'm not sure if I asked this exactly. But who are you the most excited to be hanging out with this?
Okay. Oddly enough, my probably the one I'm most excited about seeing and talking to is to get back to talk to Brian Bremer,
Okay.
Pumpkinhead. And
Yeah.
the reason is, once again, though, now it does go back to my original answer. We had him on the show, and the guy just absolutely rocked it. He was just funny. He had great stories. He was very, very interesting. We still keep in touch, on Facebook. He's that nice of a guy. Now, as far as meeting someone, I actually went to another convention that he was at, but I didn't actually get to meet him. Now, if I had to just go meet a celebrity, I think Lance Henriksen, because he's been in so many movies that I'm fans of. And now I did see him at another convention, and everybody said he's just wonderful. He's really nice, and I saw him. He's just really down to earth. None of that star quality, but probably as far as seeing him being in the room with a celebrity, he's probably about at the top of my list this year.
I'm really excited to see like just like Terry Kaiser is going to be there, which
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him at Scares That Care, but it's just really funny to see Bernie, running around, I'm like, it'd be hilarious if he walked with some people like, away from the, like that or something like some people carried away just as a joke. But, it's such I mean, and I know he's known for horror, like he's known for Friday the 13th, part 7, but like, it's still funny to see like people who aren't just horror, but have other stuff, going on
Right.
too.
Well, when you look at the typical horror fan, yes, okay, well, I love horror movies, but most horror movie fans appreciate a good movie otherwise.
Mhm.
They might draw the line at romantic comedies or whatever, but everybody's got a line they draw in the sand. But that's how I
Westerns
got
for me.
into it, Yeah. That's how I got into it. I was not a horror movie fan per se, but I am a fan of a good movie. So if it's a good horror movie, or at least a bad one that meant to be bad, now I have kind of added that to my resume. I love a bad horror movie if you can tell they weren't taking themselves seriously.
Well, what about if they were taking themselves seriously and like the Birdemic? Look at that movie. That movie they really tried to make the director tried to make a really good movie and did not work. And it is one of the funny, I don't know if you've seen it, but
I have not seen it.
it is one of the funniest things and then they tried to make a sequel to it. And I saw the sequel and I'm like, because now they know.
Yeah, now they know what they're aiming for.
Yeah.
Yes, that is definitely that. I mean, a funny movie is a funny movie,
Right.
But now I have seen some, and I'm not even talking about in the film festival where I sit and I watch them all summer for the judging process, but I'm talking about just flipping through the channels one night or whatever, or a lot of them are when I'm researching guests.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go through IMDb and find out what's streaming, and just every now and then you come across one that you can tell the guy had all great intentions and then he ran out of money before he got to the good stuff.
Right. Can do all like the post-production work, which not many people like think about it, but post-production is like pretty much make or break your movie. If a movie does not look like it was had a great post-production budget, like a good visual effects budget or whatever, sound was terrible, but they could have fixed that in post.
That is my veto on movies. I have seen movies that actually had decent scripts or, and good ideas behind them that I really wanted to like. But if you put a movie in front of me that has bad audio, I can tell that you chinced on it on that part of the production budget. It can't be saved. I just cannot get behind it.
And it's not that hard. Like I shoot movies and my sound is, I mean, as far as I know, pretty decent, like people have never complained about the sound, like might complain about something else, like, whatever, lack of blood or boobs or whatever, but they don't complain about the sound because we have somebody on set doing sound,
Right.
which is not that hard. But when independent filmmakers and look, I understand like going out and making a movie, awesome, like go ahead, but like at least get a sound to come from the into the camera, like you can buy something like that, like that's no problem if you can't afford a boom, or whatever.
Oh yeah, well, and that's another thing that I know has to be helping the independent film industry, and that is actually podcasting, because just like on audio stuff that you could not even find 5 years ago. I mean, Amazon.com, Walmart.com, lavalier mics are getting down to the price of a decent podcast mic now.
Mm-hmm.
And that works for this situation. The secret to me to sound is if it sounds like you didn't just stand back and record it on your camera. In other words, I don't know how a camera picks it up, but it can tell if you're 10 foot away from the mic. I mean, that's just the fact of it. Um, and it's very few audio technicians talented enough to make that sound natural. But if a movie sounds like they put that extra effort in there to get the audio right, then that's one thing that I that will veto one for me. And I love to see when I can tell that they've really put forth the effort. I understand sometimes a car drives by when you don't want it to, things like that. That's going to happen.
But when we do shoots, we got basically what we do is like what's known as room tone, which I don't know if a lot of people are familiar. Some people are familiar with that, but basically you go back to the rooms that you shoot at, and you record audio of like the fan or whatever, and then you're
Mm-hmm.
able to just edit that out in post, so that you catch that fan, and then you can just delete it, and
Oh yeah.
then all that stuff. So fairly simple stuff, that I can't understand why. But once again, they don't have sound people, generally, or whatever. They just are trying to do it on their own. And hey, look, more power to you if you can make a movie. But if I can't hear it, and it's on Tubi and I can't hear it, because there's a lot of movies like that, I might turn it off, unless I'm
Absolutely.
reviewing it. And then when I review it, you can bet your ass I'm going to be talking about how bad the sound is. So I mean, and that's the other thing is, we do reviews as well, not just interviews and
Mm-hmm.
chats, but we do reviews. And a lot of times, I mean, we will tell you if we liked or didn't like the movie, whether or not we're best friends with the person, because we don't compromise our integrity for people. And so sometimes people are afraid to like give us movies or whatever to review, but I mean, that's just the way it goes. If you
That
are
is.
afraid that you're gonna be, because we have what's known as the stinkometer. It's like a stinkometer basically, and it like lets you know when movie stinky, it's number 10. If it's number 1, it's good. So you want to be 1, not 10 on our thing there. But yeah, we love. We can't wait to go to Scarefest. This is going to be a really fun weekend. Sadly, we won't be there till late on Friday, but it's open. It's going to be out there till like 2 o'clock, right, or something. On Friday, I'm sure.
You never know. Yeah. Theoretically, well, for one thing, this like on Friday, we've got a movie that starts at midnight, a midnight movie, and it runs an hour and a half, and they're probably going to want to do a Q&A. So yeah, we're gonna be there till 2 o'clock, no matter what anybody does.
That's awesome. I love that. Like I love basically, breaking it till it's down, like have fun, enjoy yourselves, meet everybody. Is there anything that you wanted to share to let people know about so people are aware about Scarefest?
The I I would say that even if you've been to other horror conventions, there's two things we got going for us. First of all, we're set up more like a Comic Con. Most horror conventions seem to be end up in hotel conventions, and that means if you have a good crowd, you've also got crowded. We have amazing crowds, but because we're in an actual, real, honest to God convention center, you still got a little elbow room to get around. So I want to throw that out there. But the main thing is what I brought up before about always having something to do. We concentrate on just providing around the clock entertainment versus just letting you shop and letting you get autographs. Now, if that's your thing, 200 vendors, 65, I think it is, celebrities, got plenty of that. But we do try to make it something that no matter what, if you're even a remote horror movie fan, there'll be something there that you're going to enjoy.
That's amazing. That's exciting because I know there's like so much going on at the convention, and so that means everybody gets a chance to have a fun time, and like you said, there's always something for someone,
Mm-hmm.
and that I think I do go to a lot of conventions that are in hotels, and yes, especially I'm gonna say it, Texas Frightmare, love them, but like the last time I was there, It was crowded. It was hard to move around. I think they fixed that this past year and stuff. I didn't go this year, but and I hope to go in a couple years from now. But sadly, it's just I'm trying to go to as many conventions. And I know you. Did you say you were thinking of going there at some point?
I went to Texas this past year.
Oh, okay.
Now it's one of the ones that once again, well ran convention, except that I'm sorry, that's just too many people in one building that size. Now, that being said, I want to get it out there. They're moving to a convention center this next year, moving their location. So hopefully they'll be able to take that same success they found where they were, which I believe was the Airport Hyatt, whatever, and move it to a nice venue with elbow room and the amenities that it does make a difference on crowd pleasure. I got to go a similar one, Days of the Dead in Atlanta. That it's a once again, I enjoyed it. Great convention, but it needs a little elbow room, in my humble opinion. But that's not to say anything. Now, if these are within your driving distance, if within your budget, absolutely check them out, because both places ran top-notch fan-oriented conventions.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've been wanting to go to Days of the Dead, but yeah, it's been one of those things where I want to go to that. I want to go to Horror Hound. I want to go to all of them, but it's just a matter of money,
Even for us, and I get a travel budget, but yeah, even for us, I can't. I'll put it this way: when the boss says, "Hey, why don't you go check out so and so?" I can afford time away from life, usually once a month,
right?
And then it seems like for some reason conventions all hit within 30 days of each other. There's a big busy season in spring, and there'll be a big busy season in September. We moved out of September. Now we just have to compete against all the traditional Halloween activities. But yeah,
there's some that take place in Halloween and stuff around that.
Oh yeah, there's some year round. I'm just saying when they seem to cluster.
Yeah, they seem to cluster. Yeah, you're right, around spring and fall. So yeah. There's not as many in the summer. Where oddly enough, and I think that's because most people vacation in the summer. Maybe
I was gonna say, do you want to really stand in the Holiday Inn basement when it's 90 degrees, even with the air conditioner turned up, with 3,000 other people?
That's true. It's true. Very sweaty and probably not a fun time. Yeah, I don't know. I just know, like, spring is kind of a sort of a nice time. It's kind of like fall. Mm-hmm. Fall, both are the same time. Nobody wants to go in the winter when it's cold, and nobody wants to go in the summer when it's hot. So these are kind of the perfect times to go. But then once again, you're not just competing these days with the horror conventions. You're also competing with Comic-Cons. Comic-Cons have a lot of the...
Yeah, and it's kind of pissing us off. I'll just say it. Comic-Cons, we have no luck creeping outside of our genre. We've tried it. We even have to watch if a guest is better known for science fiction than they are anything they did in horror, and you would think that would be the same fan base. We don't generally have a lot of luck with that guest selling tickets, and we can tell that by how big their line is. But Comic-Cons just love pulling in horror movie guests, and they seem like they always have good luck with them, and that's because of the fan base. Horror movie just have a loyal fan base.
Yeah.
So in other words, we're not their competition, but they do try to put an ass whipping on us.
Well, that sucks. I'm just thinking about that because, like, you're right. There's a lot of I'll see a lot of horror people that'll go to these Comic-Cons, and I'm like, wait a minute, but they don't have anything to do with comic stuff, or whatever. Maybe a little fantasy, but like really not much as far as that sci-fi, that kind of thing goes. And yeah, you're right. Some some guests that you might have that would be a sci-fi person might not get as much hit as at a horror convention, because people are going there to meet the horror people, However, it's really funny because I've seen some people like the Sons of Anarchy people will come, or but I think a lot of them do have horror films under their belt too. So,
Hmm.
that helps. But I was also thinking of the the Boondock Saints guys, but they are at least I know Norman Reedus is, Walking
Hmm.
Dead guy, so works for that as far as horror. But I don't think Sean Patrick Flannery hasn't done too much horror yet. I'm sure he will. But he hasn't done too many of those things. But it's really nice seeing everybody, like anybody, like that you're kind of excited to meet. And I've been going to the convention since 2010, so I've
Hmm.
sort of seen, throughout that what sort of like you have the Nightmare on Elm Street 3 people, that are going to be at the convention
Yeah.
and everything. And I remember when I saw them at Monster Mania, in Maryland, and just seeing them there and just how wonderful they were. Everybody was so sweet and nice to everybody. And I love that. Like, it feels like a family when you go to a horror convention.
It really does. This year, now, okay, this because now I can joke about it on your show because I joked about it on mine. I don't think I'll lose my job for saying this. The only thing we're noticing this year, because Robert England, people are losing their minds. They just, there is a lot more of the, I'm reaching for a word here. I don't want to go overboard with it. I'm just saying a lot more people are more worried about their own experience versus the overall good, the overall, everybody else's experience. I'm hoping that doesn't translate into what we experienced this year, but we are seeing it in the in the questions that we're getting about getting his autograph
Mm-hmm.
and getting his photo ops and things. And it's a lot of it. I'm driving across country. I want to make sure we understand, but there's just absolutely no way we can guarantee anything is going to happen, and they
Yeah.
expect that we should be able to have it on our website. If you ever go to a convention because one guest, now I'm not saying you won't have your favorite, but if you're only going because of any one person, you shouldn't be going to conventions.
Right.
Yeah, because stuff
No.
does happen.
Yeah.
Uh,
It
they may
it it's one
have
of
a
those things
filming.
where, you can't expect everybody to be there all the time.
You know,
You know,
they
um,
a lot of them they'll have a. I mean, I'll put it this way: you give them a choice. You'll make you'll make several $1,000s this weekend signing autographs, or Warner Brothers wants you to take $150,000 to do this 5-minute part in their movie. Guess what? You want
yeah,
the movie.
they're gonna go with the one that's gonna pay them more. Like it's sad, but like it's sort of true. And it's not that they don't love the fans, but they have to
But they have
survive.
mortgages. Yes,
They
they
have
have
to.
mortgages. We do not want a bunch of homeless horror movie celebrities, Um, they have bills to pay too. And most of these guys are not rich by rich standards. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they so they look at this as part of their living, but if they have a chance to get out, either make more money or just get more recognition. You'll get more recognition from a good independent movie than you
Mm.
will at most horror conventions. Back to life. But we've had people had to cancel for family obligations. You know, so and so's birthday parties that day. We actually had one of our celebrities a couple years ago. His agent booked him. We had it. Had him under contract, but he claimed he didn't approve it, but it didn't matter because the agent approved it for him, and it was on his anniversary. And he said, and that was self-preservation. There was no way he was going to skip out on his anniversary to
Right.
do a convention.
Like this sounds. I mean, I know. There are some guests that they get a lot of flack when something doesn't or they get a lot of flack when they can't show up. When something happens, they can't show
Hmm.
up. They get a lot of, or even you guys, who
Oh,
are
we get
running, you get it worse
it.
probably than they do because they can't really hear this stuff, unless it's tweeted at them or something. They don't know that these people are, but you guys know that people are upset, and it stinks because they're not here just for you. You know, they're
Right.
here to give everybody the chance to meet them, to say hello. I've met Robert. Robert's a sweet man, and I love him to death. He's, my friend was getting his picture taken. I was the one taking the picture, so I got to wait in a huge line and get the picture. And then I couldn't figure out his freaking phone, of course, because at that time it was a completely different phone than anything I'd used. And of course, Robert England said, "Take the picture, bitch." And the better version of his Freddie voice. And I was like, all right, Freddie, just talk to me. Like, that to me is awesome. You got John Kassir, freaking the Crypt Keeper, who I've had on my show before, and he's such a sweet guy. Like, I love him to death.
Yes, absolutely. John actually he did my show twice this year. Um, and quick story. Basically, someone else, one of my people, booked him to do a show close to Scarefest, and it didn't get put in my calendar correctly. And so the time came, he said, "Hey, I guess I'm doing your show tonight." And I went, "I'm sorry, what?" Here we are. So I said, "Okay, we're going to have fun with this, John. First of all, I will take full responsibility for screwing it up, because I think the way it was put in the calendar, I did something else and it just deleted it. But I asked him, I said, okay, now we're going to have fun with this. Since I've already announced what we're doing tonight, which is just shameless promotion for the Scarefest, be my co-host." And he was all over it. One of the best shows I've ever done, because he wasn't the focus of the attention. And you could tell it actually relaxed him, where anything that came up, he threw in this story about something that, had happened to him 5, 10, 15 years ago. And it was relaxed. It was fun. He was funny. And not that he isn't normally that way, but it was just like magnified.
Very clever. I remember he came on my show. It's called the Independent Corner, right? And he was like, "Is this the Independent Corner?" And I did not know he said that. Like, I guess I just heard corner in my head, right? So later when I replayed it, the next night or whatever, I was like, "Oh my God, he said corner." And I didn't even pick up on it. Like, he was that good, like it just seemed like he was saying independent corner. And I was like, all right. And then I used that. So I'm going to tell him I stole it from him. Sorry. He didn't trademark it as far as I know. So he can't,
I told him the other night, every time he does some really cool voice on the show, I'm talking over him or something, or at least it's not clean enough to use as a promo. I could tell he was getting ready to do one. And so I just shut up. And he had the mic all to himself, and he did this big Crypt Keeper voice soliloquy. And I went, I got that one, dude. That's mine. That's
that's going on. That's going on. All the promos.
Yep.
That's wonderful. I love when I used to see, I think it used to be on radios all the time, but where they would say, "Hi, this is blah, blah, blah. You're listening to 94.9, The Point," or whatever. You know what I mean? So I love that because, I'll be like, "Oh, I know that person," like, you know what I mean? So when it's a horror person, it's even better. Like, it's like, "Hi, I'm the Crypt Keeper. I'm, you're watching Scarefest TV, right?" And then he'll come up with a funny quip. And I think that's just stuff like that is fun,
Absolutely.
So is there anything else that you'd like to add? Is there anything that we didn't discuss?
No, I did. If Lexington, Kentucky is within whatever distance you set, people, October 21st through 23rd, tickets are available online, scarefestweekend.com. Please come and see us. Stop by the Scarefest TV booth. I might be there. Who knows?
Might be walking around chatting with
It
all the.
happens. It happens. I have to check in there like every 30 minutes or the whole crew gets mad at me. But even if I'm not there, I have lovely and talented co-host that will be there.
All right.
And so
there you go. Well, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. And everybody go check out Scarefest, scarefestweekend.com, right? So
yes,
that's it. So scarefestweekend.com's got all the information down there. And I really like it. It's a really good, easy website. You know, you can go check out the guests. You can see what the stuff that you've got going on, the different cool stuff that's happening, you know, and you can buy your tickets. You can buy your tickets now. I think it's cheaper if you buy them now than if you get them at the door.
Actually, it should be the same. Because the ticketing company charges a service fee, but I think, in other words, when you get to the door, I think we actually tack that on the tail end of it just to make it fair. But
right.
yeah, that's we try not to overcharge the fans. We keep our prices at or below what the other cons our size are doing. So we try to make it good for the whole family. And kids 12 and under get in free all weekend.
12 and under getting free. There you go. Bring your kids. I wish my friend Ashley was coming. She loves this stuff, but she's sadly going to be in Virginia. But maybe next year, another year, you know, we can get her to come out here for that. But thank you so much. We'll be there Friday and Saturday. Sadly, we got to leave on Sunday. So, but Friday and Saturday are the big days.
I'm usually ready to leave by Sunday too. So don't go back.
I think that's every convention, because by the end of the time, you're just like, but Sundays are the best if you live locally. So if you're local to Lexington, Sundays are a good day because it's kind of an easier day to walk through and stuff. And
then honestly, okay, we'll just do another plug here. We do Kids Day on Sunday.
Oh, there you go.
Sunday is devoted to entertainment and activities for kids roughly 12 and under. Maybe a little older, maybe a little, whatever. But that's how we approach a convention.
Awesome. That's great, because there's a lot of people. I know a lot of moms are out there, dads that want to bring their kids. And so I'm sure there'll be a lot of little ones running around, a lot of costumes, a lot of different things going on, cosplay, that fun stuff. And
yes,
just excited to see what happens. So, and walk through it. So thank you so much, Wes. This has been awesome. And everybody else, check out scarefestweekend.com. And do you have a scarefesttv.com or?
Actually it's under the old banner, scarefestradio.com. And yes, when you go to the website right now, I'm way behind on posting the archives. Sorry. That's just the way it is. Actually, if you want to see the archives, go to our YouTube channel, which just type Scarefest TV or television in YouTube search. It'll pull up our channel. Everything is posted there current because we broadcast to it along with Facebook. But time has gotten away from me, and I am a few months behind posting the archives on the website. So,
well, there you go. But you guys can check out scarefestradio.com and see all the stuff that you got going on right now, personally. So that's awesome. And everybody have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye.